The key is for us to control our emotions. Her, you can't say, listen, you're overreacting. What do you mean you're overreacting? Her son just died. Her husband just died. She's not overreacting. She's acting normal. If she didn't react that way, there's something wrong. Like I know somebody that used to be like an acquaintance. Used to come to my office. He was like in the insurance business, plus he was like a business coach. And nice guy, Jeffrey Luck was his name. Really nice guy. And once in a while he'd come visit, we talk, we chit-chat. He brokered a deal between me and some other guy that ended up being a not such a nice person, but nonetheless, it wasn't his fault. He actually tried to help, fix the deal at the end. Anyway, one day, somebody calls me and says, listen, check the news. I checked the news. I see Jeffrey Locke was murdered in a very vicious way. He went to some really bad neighborhood. The story says that he was looking for some prostitute, and the prostitute framed him and then had him killed in a vicious way. Horrible. They tied him to his car, all types of crazy things. Now, if that story wasn't bad enough, what ended up being worse was when the news found out that I was one of his colleagues. They wanted to interview me. You could probably still find this interview on the internet. They interviewed me on some show and some special because it was a very unusual murder. It was a very unusual situation. But the most unusual thing is the way the family reacted. Not a single tear was shed. To such an extent, the wife didn't even want to go to the funeral. And it wasn't because of the prostitute. It wasn't because of anything. Simply, they cared less. Next day after he died, they applied for an insurance claim to collect the life insurance. Like, no mourning, no crying, no nothing. Very unusual. And you almost think, oh, wait a minute. Did the wife kill him? Did the wife frame him? Did this happen? It's not normal for somebody that you've been living with for 20, 25 years to die, even if he did something wrong, and you still don't cry. It's not normal. Sometimes you hear that somebody cried, you don't even know who the person is. But it's such a horrible story, you start crying about it. Because you're human. After all, you're human. You hear some little kid died somewhere. Shem Yachem, had some disease, some terrorist, something happened. If you're a normal human being, it makes you sad. If you're an emotional normal human being, it makes you cry. People tell me stories all the time of things that happened to them. Many times you cry. I have one woman that we prayed for her son for a long time. Unfortunately, Hashem had a different plan. Literally was born sick. One surgery after another, fighting for his life for 2 years until Hashem took his neshama. I don't know how many times we cried over this kid, but apparently it wasn't enough. But a lot of people cried for this boy. Cute little kid. But Hashem decided that he only has a 2-year plan in this world. But you cry, even though he's not your son, he's not your relative, you don't even know him. But you cry, because you're human. So when a wife or a husband loses the spouse, and they don't cry, something doesn't smell right here. No one can be that empty. So that's why they did a story on it, and they did an investigation on it, but to my knowledge, they never convicted anyone, which is also unusual by itself. Either way, one of the things that you'll notice about Jews that's very different than many of the other nations is that we are generally much more emotional than other people. Jewish people in general are much more emotional than the rest of the nations. For example, during the Holocaust, what was the biggest surprise for most people is how the Germans behaved as far as how they killed people without ever shedding a tear, without being, like it didn't affect them in any way. And the reason why is because everyone held the Nazis, the Germans in general, at very high standards because they were considered the most civilized people in the world because they knew how to say thank you for everything. Danke schön, everything you do, thank you. So everyone thought, wow, they're so polite, they're such polite people, they're so appropriate, they're so proper. Everyone was very impressed with them for years. But one of the Chachamim, Rav Wasserman and Alav Shalom, says that he knew that this appropriateness was fake. was fake. It wasn't real care for better good or anything like that. And he said when he saw that one German was showing a lot of affection to his dog about thank you and I love you, and he said, you see all that love that he gives that dog? Eventually he's going to use that dog to kill people. How he thought it and how he figured it out, don't ask me. I'm not a Rav Wasserman. What I can tell you is that he was right. So sometimes you see people that they do certain things, but it's just it's fake. It's just a mask. Same thing was going on with a lot of people that are motivational speakers. Tony Robbins is one of the most famous motivational speakers there is, and a lot of people love to quote him because they consider him a big success. He motivated a lot of people. Every time he has a seminar, there are thousands and thousands of people throwing money at him. Well, he gives marriage advice, but he's already divorced twice. He gives, ethics advice, but he's now being accused of at least 5 counts of sexual harassment, meaning he wasn't exactly the most ethical person himself. It's just a show. It's just a show. Torah, on the other hand, if a person learns Torah and applies the Torah and glues himself to the Torah, he simply becomes incapable of being fake. Which means that every time you see someone, which you probably will at some point in your life, a fake religious person, you see a religious person doing things that are the opposite of Torah, just think of this. Think of this you and think, wait a minute. Some people wear a costume once a year. Some people wear a costume all year. This guy wears a costume all year. This guy did not learn Torah. He just looks like he learned Torah. This woman didn't learn Torah. She just looks like she learns Torah. They look religious, but not necessarily religious. So it's very important to know, we do not learn Judaism from people, meaning from how they behave. We learn from books. The books tell us how to behave. If you learn Judaism from books, you learn it from the Torah, you're going to be a good Jew. You're going to be the model Jew. But if you start looking for people, that's going to be the example, it's only a matter of time before you find one person that's going to put the whole Torah upside down. And that's why the Ramban, almost 900 years ago, says that there's certain types of people that could follow all of the laws of the Torah, but still be considered naval birshut Torah, despicable in the name of the Torah. Meaning they'll tell you all the different things that you can do, but they'll always find some gray area or different things that you can manipulate and to make it into disgusting behavior. So they tell you, listen, you're allowed to eat kosher? Yes. So they're going to eat as much as possible. Okay, you're allowed to eat kosher, but not everything in sight. Oh, you're allowed to, you're allowed to do business? Yeah, you're allowed to do business. They're going to do business all the time without ever praying. Okay, you're allowed to do business, but not too much. There's time to work, there's time to pray, there's time to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu by learning. So they're going to use the laws to manipulate them. So always remember, we learn from books and not necessarily from people.